Hey everyone, thanks for clicking on the video. Just a few quick notes before we get started. These are just my personal favorite games, not necessarily the games that I think are best, but by all means, feel free to tell me your favorites in the comments. I just made this list so that we can all have some fun talking about our favorite games. On to the list. Number 5, Payday II. I'm sure this won't surprise anyone, I made a whole show based on it, even if it's now wildly out of date thanks to constant updates. Payday 2 is a squad-based PvE first-person shooter mixed with an action RPG, where you and some friends stage heists from the expected, like bank heists and casino heists, to robbing a train in motion, cooking meth well in a police shootout, and even fighting your own nightmares. What I love so much about this game is evolving with it. Despite starting as a small game by a small studio, it has grown so much as the company has, constantly fixing bugs, making the game mechanics better, and adding completely new, unique heists constantly. Especially since the skill tree overhaul, the game has been simply incredible. The game is constantly sucking me back in with its variety. There's always a new build to try, always new guns to experiment with, always new heists to play, and always new people to play it with. One month I'm fighting the police in the aftermath of an earthquake, and the next I'm jumping out of a plane to secure the money that we ejected from it, all with a few good friends. Number 4, Sid Meier's Civilization 4: Beyond the Sword. No game has made me fall in love with a franchise as much as Civ 4. Civ 2 may have brought me into the series, but no game sucked away countless sleepless nights like this one. Civilization 4 is a 4X strategy game. Explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. Much like in every other Civ game, your goal is to manage a civilization through time and grow to compete with other civilizations. Have wars, expand, and build your economy until you become the first country to conquer the world, blast off into space to find Alpha Centauri, be elected the world leader, or have your culture dominate the planet. What makes Civ 4 so special is how well the mechanics work on every difficulty. There's no glaring weak point of the game. The AI knows what it's doing and is always competent. Despite most strategy games having AI that is brilliant in some things and awful at others, in Civ 4 the AI always puts up a fair fight. They don't leave their cities undefended, they don't let you walk all over them and trade deals, and they won't sit back while you're completing your space program. The AI cares about what you're doing and knows that it needs to react to you. That forces you as a player to stop worrying completely about your little country and to start looking out in the world. Learn who hates who and play that against each other. Use spies to look at weak points in the country's front line to figure out who will be your next target. Make better use of your lands than your opponents through careful planning. The AI being smarter and more active compels you as a player to improve and succeed, and my god does that success feel good once you've earned it. Civ 4 is a game where you can play anytime and find yourself absolutely addicted all over again. There's a term, one more turn syndrome, for a reason. Number 3, Fallout 1 and 2. I just couldn't pick between 1 and 2. I love them both so much that I replay them every single year. There's just something special about the classic Fallout games that hasn't been recaptured since. Fallout 1 and 2 are turn-based RPGs based in the then-new post-apocalyptic California setting. In Fallout 1, you're a person who lives his entire life in an underground bomb shelter called Vault 13, who draws a short straw and has to venture out into the world after your vault's water chip broke, leaving you with only 150 days before your whole vault dies of thirst. In Fallout 2, you're a tribal warrior 80 years after the events of the first game who has to leave his village during a drought to find Vault 13 from the first game, to find the Garden of Eden creation kit to help your village survive. Everything comes full circle. What makes these games so compelling is that you're just a minor player in a vast world. No one knows who you are and most don't care. The world doesn't revolve around you. You're just some weirdo stumbling from town to town asking about some strange technology that most people have never even heard of. Most people either don't care who you are, or want something from you. It's a hostile environment because you, like the player character, don't know anything about the outside world and are forced to explore it and talk to everyone you can, just to hopefully find a hint of where you should go and what you should do, and that's amazing. They're games where you really do have the freedom to just go around and do whatever you want. Yeah, you could save your vault in your village. You could also master sneaking and slip a live grenade into people's pockets. Yeah, you could delve into a cave of rad scorpions to save a village. Or you could get high on jet and become a porn star. Yeah, you could help the sheriff get the riffraff out of town. Or you could literally kill children. Not a joke, by the way, you can do all the things I just listed. They're games where you actually have a choice, and the choice matters, especially in Fallout 2, where after you beat the game, It goes through every single town you visited and tells you exactly what happened to it based on what you did there. There are often more than 5 endings for towns you go to, all tailored to exactly what you do. That's incredible. If you can get past the dated graphics and control scheme, you'll find a couple of incredible games that will remind you of a golden era of RPGs that we're still waiting to return. Number 2, Deadly Premonition. This is one of those games that gets so much undeserved hate, and yet is one of the only video games I've ever played that got me so emotionally invested that I cried at the ending, the other being Earthbound. People look at the odd acting and strange character animations and they think it's inept, when it's completely intentional. Swery65, the man who made the game, just makes weird games that have a unique feel to them. Swery65 games are basically their own genre, nothing quite feels like them. I mean, tell me this isn't supposed to be silly.
I haven't missed a day since I started in high school.
Okay, back to the list. Deadly Premonition is a murder mystery mixed with a life sim that's heavily inspired by the amazing David Lynch 1990 TV series, Twin Peaks. In it, you play as Agent Francis York Morgan as he investigates a murder in a small American town called Greenvale while fighting off supernatural foes and exploring the town. This game is actually heavily narrative-driven, with the combat being a very minor part of the game. The majority of what you'll be doing in the game is driving around town, meeting people, doing side quests, and experiencing the story. Actually, the combat was never originally going to be part of the game. Swery65 was forced to put it in the game when the publisher thought the game wouldn't sell without combat. I wouldn't be surprised if they were responsible for the incredibly generic box art the game shipped with too. Look at this. Would you buy this? It looks like any generic cheap Xbox 360 era horror game. It doesn't represent what the game is at all. The game was originally going to have far less of a focus on the combat and have more of a stealth mechanic. They still left the hide button in the game, but it's pretty much useless now. Thankfully, after the game sold quite well and was critically acclaimed, at least by the critics who didn't completely blast it for the terrible tacked-on combat, it went on to have a director's cut of the game where Swery made the combat sections much easier so you could just get them over with. The footage you've been seeing is of the director's cut, where you have pretty free and open movements as well as a zoomed-out camera. In the original version, it controlled a bit more like Resident Evil 4. That control scheme worked for that game, but here, where combat really isn't the point of the game, it helps to get it over with faster. This footage is from Video Games Awesome's amazing playthrough of Deadly Premonition, by the way. Go ahead and click it if you want to watch them. Also, they're in full cosplay of the characters, so enjoy. Now, just because it has a director's cut isn't to say that the game isn't rough around the edges anymore. It still doesn't control all that well, and it's an absolute glitch fest. In the first hour of recording the game, I had York magically grow a second cigarette in cutscenes, twice, and then his tie got stuck in his shoulder, and the animation started playing at triple speed, and then I tabbed out to Google the issue and my game crashed.
Agent Morgan, if you're so desperate, then why not smoke 2 at once?
If you notice that all the footage I'm showing is from the start of the game, by the way, is because I don't want to spoil anything for you. It's a murder mystery after all. This is actually the only game on the list that I haven't played on the show in any way. Would you want to see me play through it on the show? Because I know I would love to re-experience it along with everybody. At the end of the day, the game has a Guinness Book of World Records award for most critically polarizing survival horror game. Either you absolutely hate the game or you adore it. The fact that the game can bring such strong emotions in people justifies its place on my list. Number 1, Evil Genius. 1 part 60s spy thriller and 2 parts Dungeon Keeper. For my favorite game of all time, we have Evil Genius. Evil Genius is a real-time dungeon management game where you control an evil genius as you build a secret volcano base on a remote tropical island to house your minions and henchmen as they go out in the world to commit acts of infamy. To fight against you are the forces of justice, secret agent agencies from all around the world who will send spies and soldiers to your island as you garner heat from around the world. The whole game is a balancing act between doing enough in the world to progress and make money while staying discreet enough to not have an army show up on your shores. What side of that scale you tend to tilt towards depends on your playstyle. Do you build a base that hides away all of the incriminating stuff behind long hallways and locked doors at the expense of efficiency? Or do you do away with the idea of hiding your illegal activities and shoot anyone who walks in dead? This is a choice that you have to make, and it'll drastically change the kinds of issues you have to deal with. Alongside managing things at home, you have to manage your minions that you sent out in the world as they steal, plot, and commit acts of infamy, always keeping an eye on them to make sure that you can tell them to hide when agents of justice show up to kill them off. Things can become frantic when you have to make sure your minions in the world are safe while dealing with a security breach back at your base. On top of this, you need to make decisions that will change what you are and aren't able to do through the game. From basic things like what henchmen you'll recruit when given the chance, to how you'll build your entire base so that vital things like power generators aren't getting blown up every time a saboteur stumbles in your front door. You don't just have to worry about your enemies, though. You also need to worry about your own minions. Build staff rooms for them so that they can entertain themselves and don't fall into a stupor, libraries so they have somewhere to study, barracks so they have somewhere to sleep, infirmaries so they can get medical attention, and most of all, you need to steal great works of art from around the world to inspire your minions and remind them just why they're loyal to you. The last thing you need is a pile of minions collapsing in exhaustion at your command stations and betraying you, stealing money on the way out. It's a game that constantly keeps you on your toes, one where every time you think you have everything accounted for, a new threat shows up for you to deal with. Between its variety in gameplay, its ability to be constantly engaging, its fantastic setting, and its replayability, Evil Genius is my favorite video game of all time. But you already know all of this, at least if you support me on GameWisp. It's a place where you can send money my way to support the show and get great rewards in return, like being on the Minecraft community server whitelist and getting to see special videos like this one early. I'll even send you a copy of the script of this video, why not? You can also support me completely for free by watching some advertisements on your phone or tablet with the TAD application. You can find links to both of those in the description. Let me know in the comments what your top 5 favorite games are and what you think of the games on my list. If you want to watch any more of me, I'll have videos on screen that you can click on to watch more. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. Work the word man bar into the comment if you watched till this point so I know how far you made it. Until next time, have a nice day.